Today, it's a wildflower field with some leaning trees. And this is done with watercolor and gouache. And the bottom layer is watercolor. The top layer is gouache. And I think next time I need to pay more attention to keeping the trees straight. But you know what? In nature, sometimes they do lean. But that wasn't my intent. That is an accident. That was just, I don't know, I was not looking at it correctly or something. It is crooked, right? Yeah, they're leaning. They are leaning for sure. Okay. Well, I always think that all the pictures in my journal are sketches for a possible future painting. So if I do this one again, which I don't think I will, but if I did, I would straighten those trees out like that. There. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe the hill is crooked. There. It's better that way, right? All right, let me show you how I did this right now. Good morning. We're going to do something that is kind of an interesting technique. We're going to paint with watercolor. We're going to paint basically some stripes. We're going to go from orange to blue to green, yellow, and you'll see in a second. And then that's going to be with watercolor. And then we're going to, on top of that, use gouache to create this beautiful, hopefully beautiful landscape. A beautiful, hopefully landscape. All right. So I'm going to use, let me use the watercolor first, and then I'll use the gouache later. So I'm using the Woomer watercolor. These are the Woomers, and that's the name I'm saying, Woomer. Woomer. Can you see it? Just so you know what I'm saying. And these are the colors. And I also have some gouache ready for the second part of this. But the Woomer comes with a swatch guide so that I know what's what. So I know which one of these colors it's going to look like on there. All right. Well, good morning. Today is Wednesday. It's already the 12th day of February. Wow. And not tomorrow, but 2 days from now, it's Valentine's Day. Do you have somebody to give a Valentine's card to? Well, yesterday I did a live video painting a Valentine's card. Oh boy. And I guess the painting came out okay, but I don't know about the video. I have to learn how to do live videos. I'm not really that good at it. I don't know what I'm doing. And the sound, everything felt awkward. Does that make sense? It all felt like I wasn't doing it right. So I have to ask somebody. My son probably knows about that stuff. I don't know. I'll ask him. You see what I'm doing? I'm leaving a little bit of white page right there so that's going to be the sun. That's going to be the sun shining in our picture. See that bright spot right there? All right, let's add a little bit of blue to the top of the sky. Just a little hint. I know that orange and that blue will kind of blend together and make almost a green, but it's okay. It almost looks like a little layer of clouds maybe way up there in the sky. All right, that's it for that. That's the sky right there. Now I'm going to take some light, very light, like Payne's gray, which is right here, and I'm going to just lightly put it on there. Maybe I'll mix it with a little bit of blue. There we go, like a dirty Payne's gray. I'm making these distant rolling hills. So basically what we're doing is stripes. Absolutely, stripes. Let that water kind of do its thing. And there's the stripes. Kind of had that in mind. Little rolling hills, nothing, no big mountains, just rolling hills. That's almost blending in to the sky. Almost. Now the next layer is going to be a little bit darker, but it's still wet, you see. So I'm going to have to come down here and make it really darker. Just a little area down here in the corner that later on will serve as a backdrop for some of these close-up flowers and some of the other wildflowers that are going to be in the picture. So I'm going to add the darker one. So I'm actually using black and Payne's gray mixed together to kind of get this going here. Make it dark, and I'll come back at it and make it darker. Just kind of close to the camera, so to speak. So yes, this coming Friday is Valentine's Day. I don't know if you celebrate Valentine's Day where you are. I don't. The truth is, the word celebrate doesn't quite apply. It's not like a Christmas holiday for us. It's just a day, you know. It's a day you don't want to forget either, by the way. No, you don't want to forget Valentine's Day. You have a sweetheart. I have a sweetheart. She's in the other room sleeping right now. but yeah, you don't forget that. You let her know you love her. That's, you know what? Let the people who you love know that you love them. Boy, if there's a great message, that's a good one. Let the people who you love know that you love them. All right, I'm going to try to add a layer of green here, like dark green, and we'll come back at it in a second. So I'm doing stripes. See, those stripes, kind of earthy color stripes. I'll go ahead and lighten that green with some yellow. Whoa, that looks messy. That looks messy. It's still too messy. Let me clean the brush a little bit. Make it more yellowy. Here we go. Like a yellow, kind of a yellow stripe right there. A bit of a yellow stripe right here. So it's a very, almost like a, what do I want to say? Almost like an abstract landscape. Very abstract. Very, very, very. Yeah. Okay, we're going to take care of all this later. Alright, now back here, I want that second layer of, or that third layer of mountains. You see, this is the first layer. The second layer is going to be a little bit darker than that. I'm going to use a little blue-green here. Just get that blue-green in there. Yeah, that's all in the distance. That's all in the distance. I think that's okay. Maybe a little bit more Payne's gray over here with some green mixed in. There we go. Now can you see it already? Can you see what I'm trying to do here? It looks like a layered landscape. Can you see it? Make it darker here. Let's add some more dark paint. And darker over here. So it's a very abstract landscape. All right. Now, guess what we have to do? We have to let it dry. So I'm going to turn off the camera so you don't got to watch it dry. And I will be back after it dries, okay? Okay, it's dry now. So that's all watercolor. And now I'm going to use the gouache, which I've kind of put on this. I kind of did. I put it on here. So I have an orange and a yellow and a red, but that red is dry, so it has to be reactivated. A white, a yellow ochre, a couple of shades of blue. One is fresh out of the tube, one is dry from yesterday. A dried green, a burnt umber, I think it's burnt, or a raw umber, so it's a brown, and then some more Payne's gray, and some of these other dry colors that I'll be using. I think, I'm not really sure. But we're gonna use it now to make this picture come into its own. We're gonna make it come into its own. So let's take first some of this orange. I'm going to use some of the orange from yesterday, just use it kind of like watercolor before I get into the moist out of the tube orange. I'm going to darken the horizon here with some more orange because I wasn't really happy with the way that dried. I'll just take some of that orange and bring it across the bottom, make it a little brighter, a little starker maybe is a better word. There we go. Just kind of blend it in there with the already existing orange. Here we go. Spread it out a little bit. Just make sure we don't mess with that white area for the sun. And spread it out. Somebody wrote on the comments that they want to do art, but they're never good enough. Oh my gosh. I want to tell you something. Just keep doing it. If you think you're never good enough, if you keep painting or playing your musical instrument or dancing or whatever it is you're trying to become good at, you will become good. And guess what? There'll be some days when you're better than other days. That's right. There will be some paintings, if you're an artist, that look way better than other days. I'm coming back over this area also. See, I'm just going to add a little bit of orange right there, because that's where the sun will be having an influence on them, the way the mountain looks. There we go. Again, I'm using the dry. But anyway, getting back to my point is if you just do what you're going to do. I know they say practice makes perfect, and it's true. But you want to know something? In the arts, sometimes you are better, like today, than you will be tomorrow. You want to know a good example of this? Think of a musician or a song, or what do you call it? What do they call them now? They don't call them musicians, they call them recording artists. Think of a recording artist who has like one of your favorite songs of all time. And then think of what they did after that. You see what I mean? Some of the work that they do afterwards isn't as good as what they did when they were younger. And I don't know that that's true for like painters, because I think if you go to a museum, that's kind of an interesting thought, isn't it? That songwriters seem to write their best stuff when they're young. And artists like painting artists, I mean, seem to do their best stuff when they get older. Huh. I hadn't thought of that really before. So go figure. But just keep doing it. You want to know something? Just keep doing it. And just don't listen to the naysayers, if you have any. So here's a story for you. When I was younger, I played schools. I played colleges. What I mean by played is I had a guitar, and I wrote songs, and I would drive all over the East Coast of the United States and go to colleges and play in their coffee houses and in their auditoriums sometimes. I wasn't famous, so auditoriums was not a good idea for me, because you can get 50 people into a coffee house and it looks like you have a crowd. But if you get 50 people into an auditorium that holds 300 people, it looks like you don't have a crowd. So there's that. But there was one show I did, and I had all 300 seats filled. I don't know what happened. I think it was rainy that day, and they had to cancel their football game, so everybody came out to the auditorium to hear the traveling musician, who was me. Okay. I think I did a pretty good show that night. Now, I'm in my 20s at this point, so I don't want you to think I was an old man playing guitar. One person was calling out things, like negative things, making me feel bad. And afterwards I said to the activities director, I said, oh man, that one person, that one guy kept yelling out stuff. And she said, yeah, he's always that way. So that kind of made me feel a little bit better, but still I felt bad, because he was critiquing my playing. He was criticizing my playing, and he was comparing me to his favorite artist, and he was saying you're never going to amount to anything, and oh my gosh, he was really cruel. This is a long time ago, but I want to tell you this story for a reason. Then she meaning the activities director, she said to me, you had 300 people in that audience. 299 of them loved what you did. You had one guy who was calling out negative things. Why are you focusing on that one guy? And I thought about that for the rest of my life. Why are you thinking about that one guy? So if you have one person telling you things that are negative, or doing like what they call backwards compliments, where you feel like maybe it wasn't a compliment. What do they call them? Backhanded compliments. That's what they call them, right? I think you should think of the people who love what you do. You know? And also, if you have somebody, I don't need to tell you this, I think you guys know this already, but just my thoughts on the subject. If you know somebody that is really trying to be a creative person, an artist or a dancer, or somebody who's doing something in the creative fields, make sure you support them. Make sure you tell them that they're doing a great job. Yeah. All right, enough trying to be a philosopher. Enough trying to be a person who knows, because I don't know anything. I don't know much, but I know I love you. I don't know much. All right, so what I'm trying to do here is a little bit like a line of trees. Try to get them to kind of be there. Just a little line of trees. Let's start to fade them out a little bit. Add some yellow. So this is all the gouache. What did Bob Ross used to say? Happy little trees. Happy little trees. Happy distant trees. These are distant. Yeah, make some distant trees. And all I'm doing, you can see I'm just making these little pointillism, like cones. Little pointillism cones. And as I get deeper and deeper into the woods here, they become more and more faded and more hard to see. And that's on purpose. I'm keeping it. Now it's down to a dry brush. The brush is no longer wet. It's a dry brush. It's a dry brush technique. Now I'm going to have to make it wet again. Alright, let's get some more trees down here. Can I keep it wet a little bit? There we go. A little bit of a line of trees here. There we go. It's like a forest in the distance. You see? See all those trees in the distance? Alright, now let's darken some of these areas. Let's do both. Let's lighten and darken. So let's first lighten. Let's see. Put some yellow right there. And some orange. Put some back there. Put some yellow paint back there. There we go. Kind of have a bright area right there. We'll try and do the same thing up here. Mix that orange and that yellow. So we have both colors kind of working together to create warm spots. Warm from a color perspective. There we go. There we go. Let's get some of these. A little bit of light on some of these trees. Alright, let's use a different brush now. And add a little bit more darkness to some of these areas. So I'm going to use Payne's Gray to do this. Get it wet again. some darkness over here. These little areas over here. There we go. Little areas where the shadow is a little bit deeper. Purposely trying to get some of this dark, extra dark. And then I'll come on top of it with green. And you'll see why in a little bit, because we're going to add some light on top of dark and dark on top of light. And that's going to be when the magic really happens. This is like setting up for the magic. Did you ever go to a magic show and wonder how the magician does what he does? Rob and I were talking the other day about how much equipment the band at church has to move around in order to play. When we go to church, there's a band, and they have all these speakers, and of course the guitars and the keyboards and the drums, and everything has to be loaded into a van when they go, or a truck. And so I was telling her that I watched a magician. I watched David Copperfield, not him, but his crew. I watched his crew unload his equipment. You think musicians have a lot of equipment. You should see how much stuff a magician carries. Oh my gosh, they have a lot. Anyway, I don't know how magicians do what they do, and I'm one of those people that doesn't really want to know. I don't really want to know how they do what they do. Does that make sense? All right, let's try and get a little bit light and then some green in there. I'm mixing up the dried white from yesterday, making it a gray, and then adding some green and yellow to kind of make a dark green here. Yeah. Just want dark green here. It's almost as dark as the Payne's gray, but not quite. Add a bit of yellow to that. Let's keep getting this gray and this yellow together. To get a couple different shades of green in here. There we go. Get that yellow back in there. Get it looking green yellow. There we go. Get some more green. All right, let's get some of this green and yellow together. There's some bright green right there. Just use that very sparingly. Get a little bit here and there. There's our meadow, our wildflower meadow. Put some vertical lines here like stems from some of the flowers, and we'll make it all happen real soon. To put some large foreground trees right here. Let's get some of that Payne's gray and do that. Let's get a tree, bring it right up to the top of the page. Put another one right next to it. Do you hear the crow outside? Alright, let's add some branches here. There's another happy little tree. Get some more Payne's gray on here. You can hear the crows. Adding these branches here. Let's go down to the bottom since we got a lot of paint on the brush. Get the bottom first. We'll work our way up. Okay. But this looks like a place I wouldn't mind being. Waking up, going out there. what would you have with you? A cup of coffee? A cup of tea? What would you have? There we go. That looks pretty nice. That looks pretty nice. Let's put some over here too. There we go. There's another tree ready to be populated with branches. Okay. So let's do that. This is a happy little tree. Thank you so much, Bob Ross. I mean, he really kind of gave us all this amazing desire to be creative. And not, you know, if you think about it, it's probably mostly about painting, but it's not only about painting. It's about being creative. Yesterday I was watching this show called This Old House, and those guys are unbelievably good at what they do. And there's such an inspiration to be creative, like in other things, in building a house. I mean, an architect is truly an artist, right? Even an interior decorator or a gardener, they're all amazing in their abilities to make our world a little bit better, a little bit prettier. You know, I can never take credit for the landscapes because God makes the landscapes. But maybe I could put it on paper, or on canvas. I don't know, just to show it. Not that you could go see it anywhere, but. And of course we have photography. Photography is an art too, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Robin is a great photographer. Yeah, I'm not so great with that. If I have a good photograph, it's an accident. I accidentally got something, a good shot or something. I know a couple of photographers who specialize in landscapes. I know one guy who actually works for National Geographic. Oh my gosh, his photography is art. Oh my gosh. All right, we're getting there. We're starting to get to what we want, right? What I really wanted to do with this one was I wanted to have some close-up flowers. Let me see if I can do that now. Let me see if this brush will be good. No, it's too big. Let me use a different brush. Yeah, it's a little bit better. That's a little bit better. Using the orange straight out of the tube, I'm going to add some yellow to it. Just a few up close flowers. I always do distant flowers, but I want a few up close. Just kind of lay the paint on top of the other paint. Don't want to reactivate the bottom paint too much. It's almost impossible to not reactivate it, but and then when you're drawing or painting a daisy, it's the same thing you did, the same way you did it when you were in 5th grade and 3rd grade and kindergarten. You painted flowers just like this, didn't you? Yep. So did I. I'm adding a little bit of yellow to it now, so it's not completely orange. Just put some yellow in there. we do another one. Another orange and yellow flower. I think Robin is awake. I hear Robin. So we live in a part of Florida where the birds migrate in the winter further south than here. But they pass through here. So on their way back up north, which has already begun, the northern migration happens, like right about now. And so we're getting so many birds in our yard. So many. It's really kind of cool to see all of them. Right? It's not the crows. The crows are here all year long. But some of the other birds, they come around. Like the robins. Just I was thinking of robins when I said Robin's name. Yeah. I think I'll stop at 3. I think I'll just do 3 close-ups. Don't want to do too many of them. There we go. Let's use some of that brown for the middle. Right? That's what you always do. Put that brown in the middle. There we go. And now what I want to do is take some of this Payne's gray and make it darker around the edges so you can see them better. So I'm painting in negative space basically, just to make them pop a little bit. There we go. And the same thing over here. There we go. Alright, now we can start to add the little things. So let's get a little brush to add the little things. And I'm going to start with the greens. The yellow greens. Here a little bit more yellow. hear the birds? See, I told you we have birds out there now. They're starting to wake up. They're the early birds. It's not that early, really. Not for a bird. It's probably late for the bird. They say the early bird gets the worm, but the late worm lives. If you're the late worm, you don't get eaten. The early worm gets eaten. Kind of funny, isn't it? Yeah, I'm just putting little hints of what might be leaves. I don't know. All right, let's put some more green here now. Okay. We've got more green here. Can I sprinkle it around? Maybe a couple of smaller daisies here. Identifiable. Go ahead and add some white to the yellow. Actually lighten the yellow and the orange. Put a bunch of flowers right here. Let's get our little field of flowers. Let's get some of this light yellow, light orange. I'm going to mix the orange with the white. I want to make this brighter over here. Big old field of daisies way in the distance. there's the cars. There's the noisy cars. But I don't know what I did wrong with the audio yesterday when I tried to do my live video. I didn't do it right. I messed up somehow. Maybe there's a little bit of sunlight hitting these branches here. The only other thing I think I want to do is I want to add some blue to this. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but this would be cool to have some blue flowers over here. Kind of like blue flowers. I don't know what flower is blue. They say roses are red and violets are blue, right? Are violets blue? I don't know. That's what the poem says. But anyway, might as well have some blue flowers here. Right in front of these trees. It's kind of nice. I think it's done. What do you think? What do you think of our landscape here? Our wildflower landscape. Add some yellow to some of these trees. Oops, the sun is hitting them. Maybe a couple of mid-ground trees, maybe. I don't know. Hope I'm not ruining it. There's something in the mid-ground. It was a little empty right there in that spot. Well, it's just a landscape, and it's a wildflower landscape. So I'm going to call it done. Thank you again for watching, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.